Hello there, you're watching One India English. My name is Pankaj Mishra, and the person on the screen whom you see is Manu Sharma, a psephologist, a political scientist who needs no introduction. At a young age, he has shown his capability with number crunching and also telling you what transpires when election dates are announced. Very crucial. Today, we saw Election Commission announcing dates for five state elections. Manu, what must be going on, firstly, in the minds of the political parties? All the headquarters are buzzing now. What happens? क्या होता है immediately after the dates are announced?
So immediately after the dates are announced, something called the Model Code of Conduct kicks in. So
Important.
basically, क्या है कि for every political party, it's a relief. Why?
Mhm.
Because those who are ruling can finally say that we are no longer running the show, and
Mhm.
those who are in the opposition are also relieved to know that the ones in power can no longer
Mhm.
pull the levers of power. So now
Right.
it becomes a very fair kind of a platform in which everybody can vie for to form the government, and basically
Mhm.
the game of election is truly and in a fair manner on now once the dates are
Mhm.
announced.
Right. So we are looking at a November full of elections. Thankfully, the voting days are not on the weekends. So that concept of taking a long weekend and the vote percentage going down, that has been done away with. And the counting is on December 3rd, which is a Sunday.
Yeah.
Working Sunday, it would be for all the journalists, for all the psychologists and political parties, definitely. So when it comes to month-long election season, do you believe that five states, the spacing is proper, manpower allocation, security personnel allocation, all will be taken care of? Is that a limited time is fine, or should have been spread across to say 45 days?
Well, if we look at the schedule that has been distributed, it's quite
Mhm.
clear that they have prioritized the states which have slightly, I would say, delicate security situation, which is
Mhm.
primarily one northeastern state of Mizoram and
Right.
obviously Chhattisgarh that
Mhm.
has had a active Maoist, what I would call insurgency at
Right.
times. So they're
Mhm.
prioritizing those states. But if you look at Madhya Pradesh, you look at Rajasthan and Telangana, which are fairly stable, peaceful states. I mean, over there they have just one round of election and they're just being done with
Mhm. Mhm.
quickly.
Right. Since you mentioned Mizoram, starting with that particular aspect of northeastern states, so in the vicinity, Manu, not everything is in good shape in Manipur. And
Yeah.
Zoramthanga has been a vocal critique of the BJP government led by N. Biren Singh there. Do you believe that in Mizoram, Manipur factor would weigh in a little bit?
Well, the northeastern politics is indeed a very complex tapestry, which has strands which get woven across, I would say,
Hmm.
multiple borders, states, even districts sometimes. So what
Hmm.
happens is that you have various tribes which obviously are spread across the borders, across the states, and they have their interests, and that interest finds expression often in the leaders of the neighboring state. So
Right.
that's perhaps what's playing out so far. But again, given the security situation, I think this will be a very complicated election to pull off.
Indeed, indeed. And from starting down south also now from the northeastern part, Telangana, we have seen, BRS at times training all its guns on the BJP. BJP not managing so much well there. I mean, as far as the leadership change is concerned, as far as the party responsibilities are concerned, some sort of dissent also going on there. Uh, what fair chances do you foresee for the BRS to return to power vis-a-vis the challenge possibly but thrown in by a BJP there?
Well, so when it comes to Telangana, it's emerging into what can now be called the matured polity phase. Now, what do I
Mhm.
mean by that? That we obviously know that there was an agitation seeking a separate state for Telangana, and obviously the leader of it was the incumbent chief minister. So he's
Mhm.
reaped political dividends of leading that agitation for long, and obviously he
Right.
delivered. People rewarded him, but now
Mhm.
the status, or I would say the platform is now shifting. The
Mhm.
new stage is for performance and
Right.
no longer the emotional appeal harking back to the days of agitation could deliver the entire election. It may still have some appeal, but
Mhm.
the appeal is getting limited. So now the election has opened up for pretty much all the parties. BJP, as of now, yes, is appearing weak. So primarily, it's going to be a contest between BRS, Congress, and some faction of TDP.
TDP, right. Rajasthan, obviously, Congress stronghold, touted to be maintaining a lead also there, but internal conflicts within Rajasthan Congress is something that would not fail to surprise many if it comes up at all. How do you foresee the chances of Congress there?
As of now, Congress is locked in a very tough fight.
Hmm.
We all know that Rajasthan has a tradition of basically, uh, operating this turnstile kind of politics in which one party is in, the other is out every election cycle. Now,
Hmm.
this time there are two interesting factors that have emerged. The first is that both the parties, the incumbent party Congress and the challenger BJP, are riddled
Hmm.
with factionalism. Number one.
Right.
Number two, um, so far there isn't one big unifying issue that has
Hmm.
emerged across the state, which could
Right.
lead to a wave. So in a waveless election, a
Hmm.
lot of other factors like SOPs, like strategizing, ticket distribution, end stage factionalism, dissidents, whatnot. A lot of stuff will
Everything
just,
comes into.
just comes into play. Yeah.
Absolutely. And when it comes to, these fringe issues also making a significant appearance, Chhattisgarh and Madhya Pradesh, two sister states, if I may call, these two have two different governments altogether. Chhattisgarh run by Congress and Madhya Pradesh run by the BJP. Both of them more or less, as far as the issues are concerned, Manu, do you believe that Naxalism is one issue, yes, the countering that in Chhattisgarh. But as far as the OBC and the backward classes, as far as the representation of those underprivileged, that is concerned, do you believe that also plays on the minds of the voters?
I mean, it certainly is a factor, but it is only able to operate as a factor if, let's say, the other side, so currently what we are seeing is that there is a consensus, a cross party consensus, a bipartisan consensus for empowering the
Mhm.
classes that have been left behind in the journey of national development. So
Right.
it's not like that the BJP will fail to field enough candidates appealing to
Hmm.
that sentiment, or the Congress would stay behind. So more or less that would nullify itself, because
Okay.
both parties will be appealing to that sentiment. However, what would
Hmm.
make difference is that once you've sort of climbed the first rung, the second rung is
Hmm.
about delivering on promises, about performance. And I think
Right.
that's where perhaps in Chhattisgarh, Congress has been able to manage its house better.
Hmm.
In Madhya Pradesh, the incumbent chief minister is locked in what we can call the slog over batting.
Yeah.
Basically,
Endure.
he has a limited number of balls to face, and he's trying all he can to get as
Hmm.
many runs under the belt before the polling date. So far,
Hmm.
that's the story.
Absolutely. It would be interesting, definitely, to see. And Shivraj Singh Chauhan, obviously, we have seen him at several occasions trying to mingle with the masses, the communion with the society. And he has taken a bit extra in mile also at times, it appears. But nonetheless, politics, elections, everything calls for that. Chhattisgarh, especially if we talk about it, I remember, the preparations there had started a long time ago, and when it comes to promoting what the government has done, uh, do you believe that it could be an easy walk for Congress as far as Chhattisgarh is concerned because of the developmental factor? Do you believe that this particular government has worked towards the welfare as expected?
Well, performance can be real and performance can be perceived also.
Hmm.
So, what happens is that first you have to win the battle of narrative. Narrative gets you vote share gets you seat share, and then you move on to power. So, what's
Hmm.
happening as of now in Chhattisgarh is that the
Hmm.
narrative is definitely on the side of Congress.
Right.
Now,
So great to
whether they bungle it up in the end stages, that's another matter altogether. But as
hear.
things stand today, They seem to have a firm command over the narrative, and BJP is struggling to find a counter narrative
Right.
to what
Absolutely.
Congress is doing.
You're right, Manu. And, my only reason to bring up the issue of development here is because in neighboring Madhya Pradesh, which is, I would say, if you take a look at the cities of Madhya Pradesh, they always top, as far as the cleanliness index is concerned, as far as pollution levels are concerned, Indore, Bhopal, all of them making, decent rankings there. But when it comes to the ruling dispensation, at times the narrative that you aptly mentioned has proving or has been proving a little bit of against the so is it just the anti-incumbency or is it the real factors that are going to impact the elections?
Well, you see, uh, Madhya Pradesh has been a very loyal state when it comes to the BJP.
Okay.
Perhaps second only to, I would say, Gujarat. So after
Mm-hmm.
Gujarat, if BJP can count a state as its bastion, that has been Madhya Pradesh. And
Mm-hmm.
with great power comes great expectations.
Right.
No, no responsibility
Expected.
here. It's expectations. So what's happened is that people had great expectations, perhaps
Mhm.
greater than what's been delivered. That's partly the factor. The other is what I would call the aspiration for social mobility amongst the
Mhm.
leadership. So,
Right.
so what you have is a lot of people want to sit in the chair of chief minister, and they
Mhm.
are obviously not very happy having to wait so long, and they feel that time is slipping away. So
Mhm.
that's why there is more dissidence in the
Mhm.
Madhya Pradesh unit of BJP than, let's say, Chhattisgarh unit of Congress, because
Mhm.
I mean, for all said and done, Congress has not been in power in Chhattisgarh for so long. Maybe if they stay on for a few more years, they would start facing the
Then
same issues. But overall, the story in Madhya Pradesh is complicated by aspirations of its own leaders, expectations of the electorate, um, and here we are.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely, Manu. Always a pleasure to speak to you. One final question before I let you go. What changes for psephologists and political scientists like you? I'm sure the routine is drawn, dates are out. What preparations have you made?
Well, the first thing is, stay on top of the news cycle, because generally the news cycle becomes a lot faster. And at the
Mhm.
same time, having to separate what you're hearing from news cycle from the data that you're looking at. And often there is divergence between the two. So
Only
it's
you can tell that. Only you can tell that. The best part is that you know it well.
right.
Amazing.
So that's there, and you have to account for that, and hope
Mhm.
that you are able to use your judgment and analytical skills. Uh,
Right. Absolutely. Manu, you are in Chandigarh and you are all across the television screens as well. So now the schedule is going to get complicated. So, breakfast, lunch, dinner, family time, all those things get mixed up, or do you still, psephologists still manage to, balance everything out?
well, you have to in a way, but it's quite interesting that because the the television, and I would say internet media is
Mhm.
such that you get requests for the same time frame to appear.
Yes.
Yeah, so
Ah.
often the work is bunched, in a
Mhm.
particular hour or 2 hours or 3 hours of the day, and I think
Right.
that becomes a bigger issue, because having to go across the channels, do all the work that has to be done, and at the same time to
Mhm.
communicate that work. So that's a bit of a balancing act.
Manu, I mean, as I said, that your accomplishment and your interpretations are well respected, well noted, not just in India, but in the world also. And remember, Manu and I worked also in US elections together. I remember, apart from South Africa elections. Manu, wishing you all the very best. Thank you so much. And please, at least on One India, we respect the timing. 1:30. Before that, we are letting you go. Thank you so much for
Thank you.
speaking to us. Looking forward to talk to you more. Thank you.